Macron responds to Trump's idea of putting pressure on China. For first time ever, Ukrainian intelligence destroys 2 Russian BE-12 amphibious aircraft in Crimea, and how Zelensky calls for sanctions as UN General Assembly kicks off amid massive Russian strikes. The latest news next. Russia launched a massive attack on Ukraine on the eve of the UN General Assembly. The world must strengthen sanctions against Russia, President Volodymyr Zelensky says. Zelensky reminds that rescue operations and debris removal are currently underway after the Russian strike on Zaporizhia. According to him, guided aerial bombs hit civilian infrastructure and residential buildings.
15 apartment buildings and 10 private houses have been damaged. As of now, 3 people are confirmed killed. My condolences to their families and loved ones.
The president also reports that Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk, Sumy, Kyiv, Kharkiv and Kherson regions were hit by Russian drones during the night. In total, over 140 drones were recorded, some of which were Shahed drones. In Sumy, a bread factory, a school and a kindergarten were damaged and 1 person was injured. A school in Malotaranivka, Donetsk region was also damaged. Zelensky emphasizes that the relevant services are working wherever necessary. UN General Assembly. The president also reminds that the UN General Assembly is beginning its work. He stresses that this is the 4th time that Russia has accompanied this annual diplomatic event with its killings.
That is precisely why it is so important for this diplomatic week to be productive. Action must be taken so that murder and war do not become routine. Real, powerful pressure on Russia is needed. New joint steps from everyone in the world who believes that international law must work again.
He adds that sanctions, political pressure, and Russia's responsibility for the war are necessary and expressed gratitude to all partners for their support of Ukraine. Russian strikes on Ukraine on September 22nd. Late in the evening on September 21st, Russian troops attacked Ukraine with Shahed-type kamikaze drones. Due to the threat of Russian strikes, air raid alerts were declared in several regions. Not only the Kyiv region, but also the Sumy region and other regions came under Russian fire. In addition, on the morning of September 22nd, the Russian troops launched an airstrike on Zaporizhia, dropping about 5 guided bombs on the city. At least 3 people are known to have been killed. World leaders continue to stress the need to compel Russia to engage in peace negotiations and to halt hostilities on Ukrainian territory, according to the official CBS News website. French President Emmanuel Macron outlined the need to strengthen sanctions pressure on Russia while simultaneously seeking tools to bring Moscow back to the negotiating table.
We have to increase sanctions against Russia, but we have to find the way to precisely put more pressure on Russia to bring them back at the table.
Support for US initiatives. The French leader also emphasized his belief in the US president's commitment to peace. He recalled that Donald Trump initiated a summit with Vladimir Putin in Anchorage and personally took on the risk of such a move.
So I sincerely believe that your president was committed and is committed to make peace in Ukraine. And he engaged. He took the risk to make a summit with President Putin in Anchorage. And he asked for negotiations.
Kremlin's position. At the same time, the French president noted that Moscow shows no readiness for a full-fledged negotiation process. According to him, every attempt to organize a diplomatic dialogue has been accompanied by escalations on the front lines.
I have to recognize that there is no clear willingness of President Putin to be sincerely engaged in such a move. Because as we were working on a diplomatic way, as we were trying to organize bilateral, trilateral, quadrilateral summit, the Russians were increasing the assaults in Donbass. But not just in Donbass. Intensified provocations on one side and attacks on Kyiv on the other side.
French President Emmanuel Macron also said that the European Union will conduct its own diplomacy toward China and independently determine whether additional tariffs and duties on Beijing are necessary. This was in response to a US initiative by Donald Trump, who had earlier proposed new trade restrictions to increase pressure on China. Additionally, Macron intends to use the UN General Assembly to rally several countries around the idea of recognizing the state of Palestine, aiming to create a global balance and counter the positions of the US and Israel. Ukrainian intelligence has, for the first time in history, destroyed 2 enemy B-12 Seagull amphibious aircraft. This happened in temporarily occupied Crimea, Ukrainian's defense intelligence report. According to HUR, on September 21st, in occupied Crimea, fighters of the Ghost special unit of Ukrainian's defense intelligence hunted down 2 Russian B-12 Seagull amphibious aircraft. This is the first strike against a B-12 in history, HUR noted. Along with the 2 B-12 aircraft during the raid in Crimea, the Ghost unit also struck another Russian multipurpose Mi-8 helicopter. Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine struck a Russian S-400 Triumph air defense system in the Kaluga region of Russia on the night of September 5th. A group of their fighters conducted special reconnaissance, during which they discovered an S-400 Triumph air defense missile system in the Kaluga region. After receiving visual confirmation of the object, the operators transmitted data for fire damage.
As a result of successful actions, the Special Operations Forces strike drones hit 1 launcher and a radar station of the Russian S-400 Triumph air defense missile system.
S-400 Triumph air defense missile system radar. The radar station of the S-400 Triumph anti-aircraft missile system is an important component of Russia's air defense system. The radar station of this complex is capable of detecting and tracking various air targets such as aircraft, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and other airborne objects. The S-400 RLS has a high detection range of up to 600 kilometers, which allows it to detect threats at long distances and respond quickly. It can simultaneously process a large number of targets, which ensures a high level of integration with other missile systems. The S-400 uses several types of missiles capable of destroying targets at different distances and altitudes, which determines the success of combating multitasking and diverse threats. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Support Ukraine, like and subscribe.